Hi, I'm Kudo Mal, Branch Chief of Kudo Wales in the UK. I'm on a mission to raise awareness for Kudo and the benefits of being a martial artist. Kudo is a full contact mixed martial art and combat sport developed by Grandmaster Azuma Takashi. In my opinion, Kudo is the perfect way for martial arts to pressure test the efficiency and their technique as well as their fighting ability, as it's the closest thing you're going to get to a real fight. Today on Fighting Talk, I have the pleasure to introduce you to Tomasz Konkol, Branch Chief of Ontario, Canada. Thomas has an extensive background in full contact fighting, and in 2018 he represented Canada in the Kudo World Championships in Japan. Hi everyone, this is Thomas from Canada.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, my friend. So Thomas is in the Kudo organization as well. And I've been trying to get your interview for a while, so thanks for taking the time to speak to me.
You're welcome.
No problem. So I'll tell you what we'll start with. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, but obviously your position in the Kudo International Federation first?
So at the moment I'm branch chief of Kudo Ontario in Canada, directly under the headquarters of Azuma Takashi from Tokyo, Japan.
Wow.
So that's where I'm standing.
Yeah. And what's your background? You know, did you go straight into Kudo, or did you do a number of things before?
No. Officially, my first class in martial arts was in 1988. I started with Taekwondo. I was lucky enough. It was a guy from North Korea, and he was ex-Army Special Force guy. So he was calling it Taekwondo, but we were using elbows and knees. Then when we enter competitions, things were different, but I quickly realized that hands are needed. So I entered a bunch of kickboxing tournaments and switched to full contact kickboxing. Then I luckily went to the army and spent good 6 months part of the army in hand-to-hand combat in special forces, which was the best experience I ever had so far. So since that time, I immigrated to Canada in '95, started doing stuff here, mostly pancration. Those were tournaments I was fighting with, looking for the mixed martial arts. UFC was just starting. Yeah. But to get any thing here, especially in Ontario, all the stuff were illegal, including kickboxing. There was a sports commissioner who didn't like it. Yeah. And everything was shut down. Even almost like semi-contact kickboxing was illegal. Everything with kicks to the head, everything, possibility of low kick, knee, elbow, everything was shut down. Lots of good fighters didn't have a chance to go on to international tournaments and do well because there's nothing happening here. At the moment, even karate Kyokushinkai tournaments are illegal. Wow. Until now. Finally, the kickboxing was organized. Muay Thai was organized, but it's last 5-6 years. Until then was a struggle. You got to go to Indian Reserve and try to do something there. Yeah. No, I'm for real. Yeah.
Wow. So the martial arts kind of, all the martial arts in Canada then, you know, were they mostly sort of practicing non-contact to be able to open? Is that kind of how it was working?
Official tournaments, yes. There's almost no full contact tournaments to do it 100% legally. There's lots of money has to be spent. Yeah. And lots of hoops you got to go over. Finally, there is a karate association because karate made it to the Olympics. Yeah, I did talk to them as soon as they find out I am Kudo karate, but I am full contact and headbutts and
all the rest of it.
I'm not welcome right away, so I got to go totally different channels to have it legalized that way.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, I mean, pancration with Baz Rutten, you must be a fan then.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And it was at the same time, 2001, when Grandmaster Jukucho Azuma Takashi came with his team to Canada, especially to Toronto, did some seminars. So we get to know him, and my eyes opened up. I fell in love, and we end up in the tournament in 2001 in Tokyo. Yeah, the first World Championship.
Yeah. So how
two
did
guys
you
representing Canada? Yeah,
it was two, right? Oh, okay. Yeah. So the you know, when you're seeing Kudo, then what was it specifically about Kudo that, like, you know, drew you in and thought, well, actually, I don't want to just be involved. I want to be a branch chief.
I am an introvert. I don't like to be out there and talking and doing much stuff. I just wanted to train. Kudo for me was the closest martial arts to the real self-defense system. Right. stuff even some of the people in the army are doing. The guy from Australia you have interview,
Paul.
like he really loves Kudo as well, and I know he's using parts of it in his training. Kudo was being organized since 2001. Things were going well, and then people that's supposed to do their job and they're responsible for it dropped the ball. Right. And it kind of disappeared. Pancration was shut down by the RCMP, which is Royal Police here in Canada. Right, some people had to fight with the lawyers not to go in jail, just organizing tournaments. Yes, right. Yeah. Everything went down. I had a big accident in 2006. 1 year in home, 2 surgeries on my leg. Right. And then I had to look for the ways to get back in shape, and Kudo was in my head, just stuck all the time. Especially one moment, I gotta tell you about it. In 2001, just before that first World Championships, walking into the big arena, and there was the moment when I'm high in between the chairs, looking down on all the guys warming up. You feel like inside the movie. Mm-hmm. It was the time when Kudo was still organizing itself. Yeah. And you can see guys from Muay Thai warming up in one area, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys in another area, Judo guys in this area, Karate Kyokushin there, guys with classic kickboxing in another area. I felt like I'm inside the movie Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme, where they are showing the beginning and everybody's warming up. Exactly the same feeling. And this gets stuck in my head, and I made a promise to myself, I will get back there and I will fight again. Yeah, I thought it's gonna be 4 years, but it was 70 years later. So yeah. But it was there. It was there.
But before we get on to the actually Kudo and development, we met first time France.
Yes. Yeah. 2018.
So I've managed to weave Kudo Ren into nearly every video so far. So if Fabrice in Ren doesn't appreciate this next time I see him,
that's correct.
I mean, it's a fantastic way to actually see Kudo practitioners from all over the world come into the same place, right? But in a very friendly way, wasn't it? You made some really, friends for life.
Yes. Yes, that's correct. I still have my tickets for this year. That didn't happen. Not of his fault, of course. So hopefully next year we can still join. Yeah.
And then the next time I seen you then was in Japan. I was over there dressed in this T-shirt, and you were there, and I was thinking, it's great to see everybody and catch up and stuff. And then I seen you then not long before your fight, right? And because I've been nursing injuries for the last few years, I started feeling a little bit flat about, myself and, how much, and then you hear, there's lots of people around you saying, well, come on, you're getting older now. You can't expect to be in there, fighting and all the rest of it. And you've got kids, and they just list up the things, and you start kind of feeling, I can't do it. And then I said to you, and I said, oh, so, you got you with and stuff, and you went, I'm fighting. And I was like, oh, fair enough. And then, and don't judge me on this, but I was obviously in that mindset, and I was thinking to myself, man, has he really thought this through? You know what I mean? I'd walked past the fights, I'd seen some horrific knockouts, not even long before I'd seen you. And I thought, right, there's literally some fit, well-prepared guys out there at the World Championship, and then I find my way around, and we find your fight, and obviously I knew the guy that you were going to be fighting, and he's looking to start was looking to start his career in MMA and stuff, and then you knocked him out.
It's a full contact fight, yeah.
And I was like, it was a hell of a crack, and because it was such a close quarter shot as well, I wasn't sure if you'd pushed him over at a certain point, and I was waiting for him to get back up, and then I got seen it, and I seen someone filming unofficially, and then it was like, wow, and everybody in Wales now were like, whoa,
I heard that. Thank you. No, I did hear it.
It was brilliant. So, how did that feel, right? So it's 2018. So how old were you going into the World Championship? What did it feel like getting on that platform and the highest platform in Kudo in the world? And how did it feel to drop someone on the mat?
So like I said, I made a promise to myself in 2001, I will be back. And then, of course, things happen in life and you kind of get to that point, okay, this will never happen. Then I start training again after I was told by the doctors I need a knee replacement surgery. I'm like, I have nothing to lose now. If I screw it up more, they still want to cut it out and do something. So the friend that I was with in 2001 in Tokyo, we actually continued training by ourselves within Kudo rules all the time. And then we were getting bigger, a little bit of belly, not happy. 2.5 years before the championships, we started going hard. I said, I have nothing to lose. And we did change the way we train, of course, because we had to adjust to our age. During the championships, 2018, I was 45 years old. I know I was one of the oldest guys. One guy actually from England claimed that he was older than me. I don't know, but that's all it was. Definitely, I was the oldest one that ever got to the semifinals. So that's a great thing. You said the age. People around me that don't do sport, including people, family. I had to get to the point that I didn't tell anything that I will compete, including my wife. She didn't know I'm gonna compete. I'm going there as official. She would be too afraid. Like it wouldn't be her. It wouldn't be okay to her. Too nervous. And it's strictly up to you. Like right now in the club, there's like 6 of us. Some of us are just over 50. Some of us just under. And like my goal is to be in the best shape of my life when I'm 50 years old. And I do believe it, and I'm gonna do it. Friend of mine is 2 years older, and we already set up at his 50th birthday. He's gonna have a photo shoot, and he never had the pictures like this in his life. So that's what we're gonna do now. Going back to the tournament, I gotta say big thank you actually to Jukucho Azuma, because I was getting ready. I was getting ready mostly for my exam for a black belt. In 2001, I couldn't do it. I broke my hand. I broke my wrist. So I didn't know that I don't have to fight in the black belt exam. But I said, no, I didn't go to. So now I was preparing for that. It's a realistic exam. You have to fight and you have to win majority of your fights. Otherwise, you don't pass the exam. And simple like this. So I was preparing for that. And then around 4 weeks before the tournament, we have received, myself and Max, a friend from Quebec, a letter from Jukucho. Where are your fighters? You got to have somebody. You got to do something. So we did talk. His injuries are severe. His back is really bad shape. So I'm like, I'll do it. Like, what I have to lose? And one thing that stuck to me, I heard years ago, that the true gold is not afraid of the taste of fire. Not only saying it, but I got to live by it as well. I was pretty confident in the amount of experience I had. Some things may happen, but I've been around enough not to allow somebody to hurt myself, or to know where to stop, or you can tap, you can say mate, like they don't want injuries. That there's doctors, there is very experienced referees. They know what's happening. In some fights, they stop the fights before even the fighters were able to figure out they're in trouble, which helps you to feel really confident. And then it was like back in the movie again. It was back in the movie.
I think one of the key points that I think your fight really demonstrated was that when you're in a mixed martial art, because let's face it, it's a hybrid system. There's very little that you can't get away with on the mat, right?
That's correct.
So so you got a fighter's chance. So you basically always got a chance to win. If you really believe in it and you think that you can catch someone, you can, right? And but the thing I think was the bit that people say about the head guard, right? So the criticism of Kudo quite often is that people get lazy with shots because they're happy to take a few things, right? But I think what most people don't understand is that you may take a couple of the shallow shots, but you would still take them. If you were fighting without it, you'd still take the odd jab, but it's not going to put you on the ground. But they think that quite often you can't get knocked out or knocked down with those head guards on. But you proved it, right?
No, but you've seen a bunch of them happening on the championships as well. Like clean shot to the head is clean shot to the head.
exactly.
To tell you about the headgear, when we were preparing ourselves for tournament in 2001, we didn't know the rules and we didn't have a headgear, nothing. I can blame my coach or whoever was involved in it. In the end, it was me. They didn't think about it through well. So first time I put the headgear on was 2 minutes before the fight.
Oh,
and we didn't even have one. There was a great guy from Japan. His name was Teddy. He actually volunteered to help Canadian team. He gave me his headgear. So I put it 2 minutes before, and I'm like, I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
Another thing, when people are laughing, but majority of combat fights, army or on the street or where you're defending yourself, you're not gonna have gloves. Like you do have gloves in Kudo, but they more so you don't cut your knuckles.
Yeah, they're cloth, aren't they?
This plexiglass is hard. If you don't keep the proper fist, you will break your hand. And that's what happened. First shot I threw, I broke my 2 fingers, and a few others I broke my wrist. Yes.
Right.
So I learned quickly. Yeah. So it will teach you how to put your fist together so you don't get injured on the street fight. That's why there's even some guys from self-defense trying to teach people not to use a fist, use the open palm hand, not to get injured, because that's what would happen. Yes, the headgear is there to protect you from the bruises, from the cuts. But I don't care how big the headgear, you can always get knocked out. You get on the jaw, you get on the side of the head. And you cannot run away from it.
No, you did that, didn't you? So something we got in common really is that as an organization, so I'm the branch chief of Wales in UK. There are a couple of other branch chiefs in the UK. So there's a branch chief in Slough, there's a branch chief in Kent. We have no overseeing person for the whole of the UK. So obviously when it comes to bringing together a team, that's what we do. We look at our fighters, we'll bring them together, and then we represent for the country. But the thing with growing Kudo in the UK is that we've got an MMA boom happening, obviously to do with the UFC and so on and so on. Okay. For me, Kudo was a good fit because I love the traditions, the Japanese traditions. I love karate as an art, I love judo as an art, and I love to be able to just put any experience that I've had in martial arts or anywhere else into Kudo, right? So it's a really good fit for me and very good fit for other people. But actually trying to promote Kudo in the UK and get exposure for the UK is quite difficult. What are the challenges for you in Canada? Have you got similar challenges on region or?
Yes, thing number one, karate is not taken seriously. There's too many McDodges. I am in close contact with some MMA clubs. One of the biggest one is Extreme Couture. Was opened by Randy Couture.
Oh, right.
He's he's not there anymore, but he has fighters. They actually 3 of them fighting in UFC. Okay. There's others in smaller pro organizations. There's few amateur guys. Unfortunately, they are being challenged from time to time by, I love to say it, different karate guys. Right. Just because he has this black belt with this many stripes, they come in and they don't do well. So I had to approach it differently. I do train with them. I try to help them as well. They look at me different. But there is so many years of making fun of the karate, making fun of the gi. Yeah. The good guys mostly here are from karate Kyokushinkai. Right. Okay. On the really high level. Yeah. But they're not interested in going to MMA and punching the head. Their philosophy is different. Yeah. So it's we got to plow the road. Even in Canada, if you try to look for anything regarding Kudo, search engine is gonna switch you automatically to Kudo spelled with double O, which is one of the biggest telecommunication companies here.
No way. That's a big challenge. Wow.
Yes. So I didn't expect it. Some people told me that I try myself. Yep. Even with so many searches on my phone, it's still trying to get me. Like, those guys are big. They pay money and they got to make sure, probably you spelled it wrong. We have to give you proper, probably looking for a phone or some sign up for a new internet deal. Yes.
Yeah. So like that, I mean, that is a challenge in itself, isn't it? I mean, but I didn't realize that the martial arts full contact would. I mean, that is clearly a cultural. Then it's not even your issue; it's a cultural issue. Yeah. So what are you doing to try to promote Kudo then in Canada? Are you trying to go across the border a little bit for to get some sort of networks or?
What I heard from your interview yesterday, we thinking alike, way more than you think. Okay. I did make a contact with some Muay Thai gyms, with some good full contact kickboxing gyms, and with 3 different karate Kyokushin dojos that they train fighters.
Yeah, right.
There are some jiu-jitsu guys that crisscross here and there, so I'm being open-minded. I don't force anybody to do anything. I am, one of my thing is I feel obligated to stay in shape. I got to be able to represent correctly, not only by talking, but by doing stuff as well. Yeah. And be open-minded and explain people, if somebody wants to have a great experience, go to Japan, represent Canada, because we will be putting Team Canada together hopefully in 2 years if nothing changes with the dates. Yeah. And they don't have to switch. They don't have to change the banners. They will be representing country. All is going to happen. They have to fight within the rules of Kudo, to represent stuff correctly. So some are more open-minded than others, but the majority is now UFC is paying money. Just before I had my accident in 2006, I did start talking. Actually, I had a bunch of fights. I was talking already to UFC elimination rounds to fight there, and then everything was crushed, but there was still no money in it. That's why I went a little bit different route, and martial arts at the moment is not my main thing where I make money or support my family. I'm doing it out of the heart and show people the correct martial arts and what the karate is and what it was, in my opinion, meant to be and to do for people. So which way it's gonna go, we'll see. Step number 1 was to open up the dojo. Toronto, we got like several million people living here. Everything is gonna be expensive. So I joined up with the guy from Paraguay, Taekwondo guy. Okay. Because we had similar background. I helped him to move to bigger location. Okay. I did renovation. We built it up, and that's where I have my dojo with him. We share the space. Now, of course, everything is shut down. 3 months, nothing is being generated, but we do not step on each other's toes. I do strictly mostly older teenagers and adults, and full contact. He does his way of doing Taekwondo. Lots of children, recreational. That's his business. He needs lots of volume, lots of people, and
Well, that's what he's going to make money, isn't it?
Yes, I was about actually to track down the gentleman that I met in 2001-2, and he was high in pancreation. He kind of stepped out. He's ex-police officer. He's actually main guy training prison guards for self-defense. Right. Wow. He's still doing it, and I was very, very happy that he remembered me. And I was about to open my second location in his dojo. He asked me to coach there and help him to build it up in full contact. He is in karate Shotokan. He's a 6th dan, I think. And everything went down the drain with this COVID stuff. So I know he's still open. We talk, and how and what's going to happen, we don't know. We'll see.
Well, I think that, going back to kind of, attracting people in, I think the biggest key that I'm realizing now is that a lot of the mindset used to be that, when you walk in a dojo and you're committing to a style, and you couldn't go anywhere else. And that's very old school, and there's still a little bit of that culture around. So, and that tends to be in the instructors rather than in the students, right? So what I'm trying to say that I'm not one of those instructors, that if you want to, chase a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you want to get a black belt in Judo, and you want to become a black belt in Kudo, you can do all 3. It's down to us as the dojo managers really to be loyal to Kudo and to keep building Kudo, internationally, isn't it? Because in Europe, for instance, that we've got a number of clubs building. There seems to be this kind of more at an instructor level, afraid of coming across. But I think that if we change the way that we're looking at this, to go, well, actually, Kudo is something that you can join as a student. I mean, there's the amount of fighters that I was one of those people. I used to train semi-contact, and I absolutely hated it because it just felt like I'd take the first shot and then I couldn't hit back. It felt totally unfair, you know? And so I got faster so I could just hit someone. And then I realized that actually I got super fast, and outside of the dojo, I could continue to hit people, you know, if it really came to it. So I think that's what people have to understand, is that there's skills in everything, and it can be a little bit of a jump going from semi to full contact, but it's not that big a jump. It's a mindset, isn't it? You know, going from semi.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And to continue, consciously, I did enter tons of kickboxing tournaments in semi-contact. Because when, let's say, they were putting them together a lot as a light contact and semi-contact together, so I always went for both of them just to get more experience. But to prove you the point, in 2001, first World Kudo Championships, there was a guy from Holland. He was training with Sanchez-Jones. And he was semi-contact guy. I know he had a medal on World Championships in kickboxing semi-contact. He changed few directives. He ended up becoming silver medalist in World Championships.
There you go.
In 3 fights, he knocked the guys out with the spinning roundhouse kick. And they knew he's gonna do it, and he did land it. In finals, he lost to a Japanese guy via the armbar submission. But the Japanese guy didn't want to fight him in the long distance. He was doing everything to grab his gi and pull him down.
And that's the beauty of the game, right?
Yes, you got to know what you're good at, how to do it, and like, you know, the accuracy and speed and how you got to read your opponent in semi-contact to be effective. And
Definitely.
There should be a big part of training as well.
So, I mean, we've covered the full contact and you know, the structures and the difficulties and the students sort of moving in and maybe going from semi-contact or going from non-contact maybe to something like this. But it kind of liberates you, right? It brings out a very different side to you. And like, for instance, like I was saying about Ren, when you fought full contact, or you're in an environment where everybody does the same sort of thing, you know, you make these connections. So the bit that I suppose that I'm trying to focus on with this sort of question is that Jukucho talks about lifelong learning, really. We have Kudo for life, right? And we were talking about limitations of being able to compete in the Kudo. So in other words, in the sport or the platform of sport. But Daido Juku Kudo, as in the art, you know, do you think, because like it's a big part of me and the way I run my dojo is that I try to be as inclusive to everybody, you know, no matter what difficulty they've got. You know, whether that be physical or mental, I believe actually training the way that we do is beneficial. You know, what have you seen of the benefits of Kudo generally for maybe outside of competition?
Going back to Kudo, why I get back to it, you know, I kind of became what would be now called mixed martial artist or mixed martial art fighter. But there was something missing. I've seen way too many people, very good boxers, very good wrestlers, very good kickboxers. When they physically cannot do the stuff or not getting their medals, they just stop. And for me, it's a huge waste of time, talent, and knowledge.
Yeah, exactly,
Where Kudo comes with this philosophy and real Budo martial way of thinking, there's a structure that I do like. I don't know why there is such a big pushback against structure right now in the media, in the school. And the most important thing for young people, in my opinion, is discipline. But as soon as you mention discipline, they're like, you want to hurt them or something bad is going to happen. Without self-discipline, like you cannot accomplish anything. And it's very easily transferable from the martial arts to your personal life, to whatever business you want to go into. Like, there's not going to be anybody standing on top of you, yelling, screaming, or putting gun to your head. You have to do it today, or you're not going to go ahead. It's got to come from you. And for me, that's what martial arts taught me, and especially that Jukucho philosophy of Kudo. Even the way the classes are structured, you must be able to do warm up and survive. You must be able to do Kihon. There's this base that you must have. And I've seen guys in Japan way over 70 years old, and they are able to do it. Which is beautiful. Which is beautiful. It's just because it's full contact doesn't mean people are whacking their elbows on their heads for half an hour every day. There's way too many aspects.
Yeah, because I mean, you do see it in other elements, don't you? I mean, like in Muay Thai, you see the top level Muay Thai, they're out of it very young. You know, I was speaking to Neil Adams earlier and talking about like hips and knee damage, from whether that's from break falls or whatever. So that, I mean, the run that you get is short-lived as far as your fighting career, but you know, that part of the reality, I think, is what you get from the Kudo, is that you know the reality of what it's going to feel like to be overwhelmed by everything coming at you. It's not going to look like a certain way, and I think that's where I think some of the ways that martial arts are done, it's that you kind of know what they're going to do before they do it. You can read them, you know. So it's
not like
self-defense. It's as close as you're going to get, right?
No, and you were talking to one of your interviewers from England, the guy doing self-defense, the Combat Association.
Peter.
People don't realize how big of the part is a mental game, and your awareness and understanding of the situation you're in. When to fight, when not to fight. And in the same in the tournament, like for sure you've seen guys before they get to the fight, they already lost.
Oh, right, without a doubt. Yeah.
I've seen coaches being so afraid over there, going up with the fighter, and the fighter is looking at the coach. I'm like, on the side, it's not my business, but this is not good for this guy. Yeah. So to be able to handle that pressure, and again, it's transferable. Like you're going for an interview for the job. Because you enter some tournaments, you're used to that pressure, and it's gonna be there. It's not the school anymore, and it's not the participation trophy. There is only one position available, and if you're ready, you're gonna get it. You may be the smartest guy, but if you don't know how to stand up straight with your shoulders up and how to speak up, they're going to give it to somebody else, even if that person knows less. He was able to perform under pressure.
Without a doubt. You know, we're very proud of being Welsh, so there's usually a small bottle of whiskey or something, or maybe this size, I don't know, like that. There's a fake one. Look
lunchtime, but that's for lunch.
Spelled badly. Cheap. Knock off gear.
Okay.
But you know, it's like the mantra. You know, it's like I went there and someone said, "Oh right, you know what the mantra is, don't you?" I said, "What? What's that?" He said, "Well, you know, you got to fight hard," and I'm like, yeah, all right, that kind of makes sense. And then you got to drink hard, and I was like, now you're talking. There it is. And then he said, and then you got to sing hard, and then I'm like,
I was forced in 2001. There was amazing reception that Jukucha did. They took all the fighters to actually original hotel in the mountains. Yeah, we were sleeping on real tatamis. And we were with the monkeys outside in the hot spring waters. And yes, there was lots of singing as well. Yes. And everybody had to do it. There's no way around it. Yeah. So,
I know. And I was like, when, so I sent Alexei Kononenko an email to say, listen, man, I've heard that each country has to sing. You know, is that true? Must be a joke. You know, LOL sort of thing. And then he goes, in true Kononenko style, he just went, yeah. And that was it. No explanation. Yeah. And I'm like,
just maybe for people understand what we are talking about the connections. A friend of mine who was fighting his first fight in Kudo in 2001. His first fight was against Alex Kononenko. First fight ever. And day before he find out who Alex is. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't chicken out. He went, he fought it. Yeah. He lost by one koka, which is great.
Well, it's good.
That's where we met Alexei, and didn't keep much contact with.
No.
So imagine it was 2001. Then I started looking who does Kudo in Canada, what's happening, and then contact directly Japan. They are always flooded with emails, so it took a while to get back. And then I found Alexei Facebook. I contacted him. Yeah. So I didn't talk to the guy for like 12 years.
Oh, really?
And I was in big shock. He responded, and he did remember me as well.
Right.
So
wow.
it tells you where those people are coming from and what kind of organization are they building. Yes.
Do you know, because I think when you've got a platform like that where you know, you're either going to win by knockout submission or you're going to have a war, right?
Yeah.
So there's only a couple of options, and when you have that, it kind of takes out that situation. So everybody can be really friendly, because at the end of the day, you know, you're going to have to face that. But also on the flip side of it, I've got people in my club. So I got a guy in my club, and I've interviewed him, Mike. He's in his 50s, and he's absolutely loving Kudo, right? Absolutely loving it. And then he went out to France, and he's got his sailor's hat on. You know, he's having the time of his life, and he knew that he could step out, and there wouldn't be egos, you know, and people going, check him out. He's not going to fight, you know. You haven't got that. So as much as that, what I'm saying to people who are maybe watching this, as much as we're talking about that element that you've got that full contact, that people respect when people don't want to fight, right?
Yeah.
As long as you're honest about it, rather than making it happen.
Yeah, and this again goes back to the structure of Kudo and the way the exams are made. You have nothing to prove. You have things to show, and you must show them in order to get your grading and go forward. And your belt represents something back to what it was years ago. I've seen way too many different other black belts beaten up by regular guys with the drinking bureau life, and it was sad to see, but it's happening. So what Jukucha did with the structure, with the way of training, with the way of getting the exams, it's totally opposite what people would expect.
Totally.
Every great fighter, even I met the guys from UFC, really good ones, you would never say they fighters if you don't know them. They never pick the fights. They don't want to fight. They have nothing to prove. They know where they stand. They know what they can do, and they're in peace, in total peace. They would be last ones to start anything. Yeah, which is a great thing to see, and even greater to be part of it. Yeah.
Okay. A couple of questions, right?
Okay.
Your hobby. What's your hobby outside of Kudo? Number one hobby.
Kudo actually is my hobby, because I'm
you
a
need
small
another
business
one.
owner.
I have no time. It's just Kudo.
Spending time with my children. Like any moment I get, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, that's fine. I know the feeling, right? Because when people say that, they say, "What's your hobby?" And I go, "I haven't got time for a hobby." So I mean, I bought a drone once.
I love to read books, anything to do with little philosophy and the fitness. Yeah.
That's good. And best Canadian food.
Best Canadian food. Good pancakes with the maple syrup, of course.
I got a bottle of that somewhere.
Okay.
So, who would you say the most famous martial artist that has inspired you that's come out of Canada? Because that's going to be a challenging one. I didn't realize how challenging that would be now.
From Canada, two guys. One, as a martial arts, Johnny Theriot, who is number one kickboxing champion in Canada. I was lucky enough to meet him and train with him in 1996, all the way back there. And the second one, hard to say. Like, for me, he's Canadian, but he's Jamaican Canadian, and then now he's English. Lennox Lewis.
Lennox Lewis.
I was actually living in the gym where he was training for 4 years while he was there, watching him, learning, and seeing how is it done for real. So those two guys here from Canada. Yeah.
So you're not. It doesn't hurt your feelings to say that he embraced his Britishness towards the end of his career and British flag.
No, it's between him and himself. It's between him and himself. The great thing, the Olympics I think the Olympics he was in. This was the best Olympics for Canada. He got gold, another gentleman got silver, and one more gentleman got bronze. It was never done before or after. And to be able, with the coach who did it with them, to train with him for 4 years, it was great knowledge and great experience. And then he decided for some reason change it after. Then, like I said, it's with him and himself. That's it.
Well, he still had the Canadian accent, so it's like, so it's like an English guy with a Canadian accent. So, whatever. If he's waving the flag, that's great. That'll do, right?
Okay.
I've noticed with the Canadians, right, that it's the word like about. We say about, and how do you say that? Have you heard how to say that? It's like a boot.
I do. I still have a heavy accent here. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Have you noticed that in Canada though?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Because they're like talking, and it sounds like, and it's like a boot, and then something happens. I was like, what was that?
Yeah, and even here, like people in Toronto talk different than on the East Coast. Let's say in Newfoundland, when they go with their heavy accent, it's like me trying to talk to 100% Scottish guy. Yes, it's like it's gonna be hard one to swallow.
we have the Scottish guys, and I don't know if you've seen Paul Cale's video, but when they're out in India, and Peter, one of the boys from Liverpool, did a speech, and no one understood what he was talking about because he's a Scouser. Honestly, I made me like laugh, and I spat my drink. I was brilliant.
Yeah.
So, how many languages can you speak?
I can speak 2 languages, which is Polish and English. Luckily, I do understand some Russian, which helps me with getting to Russian websites and their knowledge, since they are number 1 in Kudo at the moment. Yes.
Yeah, because I mean they've got their own federation, haven't they? So
they build something really, really amazing. It's great to learn from them. Yes.
Yeah.
It's just to see that it can be done, which is another great thing to look up to. Yeah.
And have you got? Do you like martial art films, or do you go like, oh, you know, it's like when watching the old James Bond, where James Bond go flop, you know, like shoot, and then they would fall on the floor, or do you just take it for what they are?
I just take it for what they are. I try to bring myself back to being a young teenager mentality and just watch it. Yeah. It's entertainment and fun. But as soon as I catch myself going through some details and techniques, then I got headache, and it's not funny anymore. Yeah.
So you got a favorite old film, like an old martial art film, or is there a new one? Because I quite like John Wick, even I was told that it's not very good. I like John Wick.
I do enjoy John Wick. Yes, yeah. I'm on your side with it. Yeah. I think that there's lots of exaggeration over there, but reality. For me, what gets me from the movie, reality of the contact is gonna be sharp, quick, and that there's no second chances. If you get the bullet, you get the bullet, or if you get hit in some spots or you fell from somewhere, there's no second chances. Sorry,
no. It's fantasy. It's fantasy, but
life is over. Yeah.
Yeah, nice to see a little bit of sambo and different sort of jiu-jitsu and all that in there. Yeah, it's wicked. And last one then, alcoholic drink. What's your favorite alcoholic drink?
Rum and Coke.
Rum
with lime.
With lime. I'll remember that, because the next time I see you, my friend, I'll buy you a large one for doing this. So thank you very much for getting involved in this. It's been really, really good. So how does somebody that wants to get involved in Kudo in Canada get in contact with you? What's the best thing to do?
Facebook or Instagram under Kudo Ontario Canada.
Okay.
Just shoot the message and we'll be right on it.
Okay. Thank you. And no questions, a stupid question, right?
No, there is none. There's only stupid answers. Yeah.
I got plenty of them for you. Don't worry. Well, it's great to see you, mate, and I'll catch you again. Not so far away, hopefully, when these airplanes start again.
Yes, I'm all for it. Thank you.
You take care, mate.
Bye.